Geek of the North, episode 61 for January 31st, 2017. Happy New Year. I know it's been a month since I posted an episode here, and I'm also going to cross-post this on Mike Dell's World over at MikeDell.com. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because this subject is kind of good for both podcasts, so why not do double duty here? So this is also going to be Mike Dell's World episode number 254. So interesting that both are going to come together, but I am kind of a car geek, and I do cars a little bit different than the average bear. I don't ever go out and buy a brand new car. I've done that once in my life, and it worked out okay because I drove the thing for, 14 years and almost 200,000 miles. But in my estimation, buying cars that are that new or brand new, this doesn't make sense for me. I put a ton of miles on cars generally, and so, I don't get my value out of them as much as if I start with an old car and just make it older. A friend of mine said once, and it really stuck to me. He says, yeah, if you go buy a used truck, then you've got an old truck. And in 5 years, if you buy a new truck, in 5 years, you've got an old truck. So why not start with an old truck, and 5 years later, you still have an old truck? So I've kind of taken that to heart. So I generally don't buy vehicles that are newer than, say, 5 or 6, 7 years old, sometimes older. Well, this fall, I bought a 2006 Subaru. So at that time, it was about 10 years old. Had 100 and something thousand miles on it. And for a Subaru, as long as it's well maintained, that's not bad. So, and I got it cheap. And the beauty of it, no car payments. And that's the other thing. I don't do car payments if I can help it. Now, I have, and I probably will in the future, if I need to. But I'm definitely not going to go out and buy a brand new car. So I had a little incident in January, and the beginning of this month. If you're listening to this on the day I posted it, otherwise last month. Anyway, first part of January, I was driving said Subaru, and it was a nice enough day, snow-covered, slippery roads like normal up here in northern Michigan, nothing we're not used to. And the Subaru, of course, is all-wheel drive and sticks to the road pretty good in most cases. Well, I'm going along at what I consider a reasonable pace, and I start down this hill, and I realize I need to slow down a little bit. So I just touch the brakes, and voila, I am along for the ride. The car is sliding sideways. There's a curve at the bottom of the hill, and then there's, not a cliff, the ditch. And it looked a lot bigger that night than it did when I went back the other day just to pick up some parts that had been forcibly removed from the car. But anyway, suffice it to say, I went through a hedge, went through a bunch of little trees, missed a couple of big trees by mere inches, and basically tore the mirrors off both sides of the car, put some scratches and really dinky small dents that you can't see from more than 5 feet away in this car. Well, since I had just bought it, I made the mistake, or maybe it wasn't a mistake, but at the time I thought, I guess I could put full coverage on it, at least for a little bit. So I did put full coverage on the car. Well, being that it's a 2006, and even though it was in immaculate condition, the insurance company decided it was totaled. The whole bill for repairing the car was $4,500. And apparently in Michigan in particular, but I don't know how it is with other states, if a repair bill takes 70% of the car's value, they consider it a total loss. And the car's worth about $7,000, something like that. And Anyway, so the insurance company came back and totaled the car. I'm like, well, that stinks. I like the car and really can't tell anything's wrong with it except for it's missing, not missing, but it's, the mirrors. We put mirrors on it just so we could drive it. And, other than that, it's just a couple, little dinky, door ding sized dents. But they wanted to replace the doors, replace the fender, replace the hood, replace the windshield, because the windshield had a little scratch in it that wouldn't shine, buff out. So, all that added up to $4,500. But the insurance company totals it, and they sent me a check for the $7,000. And I'm thinking, well, it would have been cheaper if they'd have just fixed the car. Instead, they totaled the car. So to buy the car back from the insurance company, I had to pay the salvage, so it was $1,400. So I paid them back $1,400 out of the $7,000, and I own the car free and clear still. And I got a bunch of money in my pocket. Well, hopefully that doesn't affect my insurance too badly. But the thing I was getting at is, why, who wins when, there's that law here in Michigan? I don't know if it's really the law or what, but who wins in that case? I told them, I said, well, don't change the doors and the hood. There's just little dents in it. I don't care. I'll just slap some mirrors on it and drive the thing. And they said, well, no, we got to do it, blah, blah, blah. And so instead of writing a $4,500 check to the place to fix the car, they wrote a $7,000 check and basically gave me back the car for $1,400 of that. So I don't know. I don't know if this is really tech, but this is still geeky stuff. So that's why I put it in this feed as well. But, I just don't understand who wins. I kind of won in that one. And if I wanted to, I could go have all that work done and still come out ahead. That's fine. But I'm not going to. I'm going to throw a couple mirrors on it, which I already did. And there was one little side panel that popped off. I went and retrieved that from the site of the accident, and I'm going to put that back on the car when the weather is conducive to mess around outside, and I'm just going to drive the thing. I don't care what it looks like. I might have some fun with it. I might get some of that bed liner material and paint the whole car with that and make it kind of Mad Max-like. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Like I said, my philosophy on cars is I buy older ones, and, for just me and my wife here at the house, we've actually got 4 of them here. Not because we need 4 of them, but if one breaks down, which happens with older cars, we've got backups. And, admittedly, the old van, I've got an old van. It's a 79 GMC, and that's basically utilitarian. I haul stuff in it, and it doesn't really serve much other purpose. And then we've got an SUV, big SUV that we pull our camper with, and then we each have our own vehicle. Actually, Kathy, my wife, drives the Subaru most of the time, and I've got a little Chrysler minivan. Now she wants a new car, so we are going to go out and get her not new, but a newer. Well, maybe not even newer, but a different car. So we're going to go get her something to drive around, and I'll drive the Subaru, and we'll just get rid of the little Chrysler minivan since it has 240,000 miles on it. So anyway, but that's my philosophy on cars and my little story of wrecking the Subaru. Although, like I said, if I took a picture of that car, which I might include, I will include that in the show notes. So if you're listening on the Geek of the North feed, that's over to modernlifepodcastnetwork.com and look for Geek of the North, and there'll be a picture of the car, and you'll never know that anything's wrong with it. Well, maybe a little bit with the mirror looking a little weird, but other than that, you can't tell from where I took the picture. And then if you're listening on the Mike Dell's World feed, go to MikeDell.com and look for this episode, and I'll have a picture in the show notes. And I usually don't cross-post, but like I said, I thought it was appropriate since I am kind of a car geek and do things a little bit different than than the average bear. Yeah, no, it would be nice to go get a brand new car and have all the tech goodies and all that. What I usually do is when I have to travel, if I'm driving, and if it's like a long trip, like I go down to the office where I work. I work for a company based in Columbus, Ohio, and that's 400 miles away from here. And usually when I go down there, I'll take and rent a car, which is nice because I get to play with all the tech gadgets and all that. And the last time I went down there, I rented a Volkswagen Jetta, I think it was, or Passat, I don't know. It was a little sedan, and it had Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in it. And since I have one of each, I got to test out how Android Auto and Apple CarPlay work. And let's see. Oh, yeah, it's still recording. I thought maybe my recording stopped. But anyway, it was fun to do that. And so, I figure, if I'm going to need a car for a long trip, just go rent one. They're cheap enough. It's certainly cheaper than a new car with a new car payment and a big insurance payment and all that good stuff. Instead, I'll just rent one. I'm a mile from the airport. It's no big deal to go get a rental car. So that's how I do it. I don't know, your mileage may vary. If you got any comments on how you do vehicles and your philosophy of that, either techie geeky or just in general, get hold of me. You can find me. Let's see, on Twitter it's MGDell, MGDELL, and on Facebook it's facebook.com/MGDell. Let's see, where else? I guess email. You could email me, mike@mikedell.com. And, of course, I'm also an administrator on the Modern Life Podcast Network Facebook page. So, just curious what you guys think about how I do cars. And, and of course, that all also, brings up another point as far as techie geeky stuff. With the cars, I've got the same car stereo in this Chrysler minivan that I've been driving that I've had in the three previous cars. So, I've got a car stereo that's just a, Kenwood, simple, cheap, but it has really good integration with plugging in the USB to my phone so I can listen to my podcasts and, streaming radio and whatever through the phone. And so when I get, when we sell the Chrysler minivan, I'll put the original radio back in it and take that stereo and put it in the Subaru, since that'll be my primary car for the time being anyway. So that's just another techie geeky thing that I do. Like I said, and I actually should get on Crutchfield and see if I can still order that version of the Kenwood head unit. Because I really do like how they do the integration with especially the iPhone, but it works with my iPad actually as well. As long as I have the iPad charged all the way. Of course, I think I had a whole episode about how iOS 10 screwed up my iPad charging, but I figured out if I have the thing charged all the way before I get in the car with it, it'll maintain the charge plugged into the car stereo, so it still works. All right, enough of that. I'll let you get back to your playlist of podcasts. Glad I'm part of it. Catch me later.